Okay, so my project plan, mine looks a little bit different than the rest of you guys because I'm third grade math. Um, so I did not tackle Canvas with them. I used Google Classroom because they're here with it. Um, so here is kind of my objectives, my learning outcomes for my students. Um, we focused on multiplication and division. And so we spent a good couple weeks, I think it's 4 weeks that we spent learning multiplication steps. So the first one was students would determine total number of objects when equally sized groups combined or arranged in arrays. So week one was arrays. Week two was multiplication using repeated addition. And peak was a bigger one, a lot more steps, repeated addition, equal groups, area models, counting on a number line. Um, that is a lot for third grade to digest because this is their first exposure to multiplication. So I broke that teak into separate weeks as well. So we did 1 week of repeated addition, 1 week of equal size groups, and then skip counting. Then we did division, multiplication and division relationships of families. We did division groups, sorry, and and that's kind of where we're at right now. We haven't made it to 1 and 2 step problem. The technology I used in my presentation, and I have a split screen because I wanted to show my actual classroom as well as slides. So this is my start page, my introduction. I've got a recording to um, let students know how to use Google Classroom. They struggle with that sometimes. They sometimes ask me, Madam, how do I get to this? And this video will actually and just say, oh, go look at your video, and it'll show them how to get to what they need. Tab laid out by weeks and the day of the week that they would doing the assignment. This helps keep them on track, and having the days here helps them know, oh, today's Monday, this is what I'm doing. But the technology I used a lot of it is Google Slides, Google Forms. I used YouTube for some instructional videos. We did an for one assignment. They collaborated on Jamboard. I really like using Jamboard in the classroom because third graders don't always like to share what they know, but they will type it out and share that way. They don't always want to share orally, they will share when they get to use a computer. We also utilized lessons of learning, which is game-based learning. I was able to assign assignments that along with what I was teaching classroom. And this is something that was not originally on my project plan. I added later because I use it a lot and it's beneficial and it aligns perfectly with TEKS. It's down by weeks. I took screenshots of the assignments that the students did. I just for like safety reasons, I didn't want to put their names, but I screenshotted their assignments to actually see what they're completing in class. Because they were asked to create an array and label it with the multiplication equation that shows. So different examples. This is a quiz that they at the end of that lesson. The more full group slide assignments that they did and skip counting as division. And then I took a snapshot of at my district, we call it a detail tracker or a demonstration learning. So after each teach, I would in and score they made on it. And it was after quizzes, that's what I used as their demonstration of learning. And this is kind of where they were. So the green would master level. This kind of correlates with would fall. They took the STAR test because this is the first year they have to take STAR. This gives them a visual of, hey, I made great on this assignment. I'm going to fall in this category if I take the STAR. Would be meet, would be approaches, and of course, red would be does not meet. Some of the obstacles that I faced during this project plan was I got told by my administration that they didn't want the students on the computer as often as they've been in the past. So it was kind of a struggle to have them follow along with what I created for the project plan and follow what my administration wanted me to. So there were times that I would print certain things that I created, like for example, each video I had created notes for them to follow along and take notes that are going over it. I already know before. I learned during questions I still have. I was able to print this out and do it paper copy instead of digital. So I was able to utilize most pieces of my project plan. Some of the quiz I had on paper, and some of the assignments I created, I had to print out on paper. I was still able to use what I created, it just was in a digital format. So that's kind of where I'm at. Still going with it. I haven't finished this week yet. We're a little bit behind. So that's kind of where I'm right now with my project.
Excellent. Any comments or questions from your classmates?
I like how your Google Classroom looks so neat, like everything is labeled. And I think as a student, especially in third grade, that helps them a lot.
Yes, thank you.
I was gonna say, on the digital struggle that you had with your admin, I think we all encounter obstacles like that, but now that you've done it digitally, you kind of have a framework of how to copy that and do it again in case that struggle ever changes. So good job on doing the work for that, and then finding a workaround that shows some problem solving and some critical thinking on your part and how you modeled that for students. I will say personally, thank you for explaining the purpose of Jamboard. I know that's probably like second, trivial knowledge for you, but as a secondary educator that left the business world to become in education, and now we do like professional development, and they want us to use Jamboard, I'm like, why? So just your simple one sentence explanation of people don't want to speak up, but they'll do it here. I'm like, oh, that's why. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. So, Randy, in terms of this project, what are some lessons that or strategies you're going to take with you?
Definitely flexibility. There were several times that, of course, being elementary, before Thanksgiving, we had a turkey trot. And so half of my students left and I wasn't able to do the quiz that day. I had to move it to the next week. And definitely being flexible, like the whole administration thing. I was really pushing and saying, this is really going to be helpful because they're going to have to be required to take the STAR test online. So having them practice it digitally would be perfect. I have to roll with the punches. So definitely being flexible and able to just stop what I'm doing and be like, and we'll have to fit, definitely is definitely something a takeaway. And also another obstacle that I ran into that I wasn't thinking about initially when I made the course. I created it under my Tarleton account, thinking I could add students to it that way. I wasn't able to. So I should have created it under my SD account. I was just thinking I didn't want to overwhelm them with so many different classrooms. This one was just a small segment of learning outcomes, because I have one that goes the whole year. So that's why mine screenshotted on the slide and not actually in my classrooms, because I had to do screenshots and show them the way. So definitely flexibility.
Well, good. I'm glad that you all had some positive reactions to doing the assignment. So that is awesome. And I look forward to learning more from each of you as we continue to go through the course. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.